They moved her down to intermediate care on the 3rd floor to try to wake her up from her coma, take her off the medicines, and just see how her body was going to react and what kind of state she was in. It had been about 4 days, and she was still incoherent. When she did open her eyes, they were rolled back in her head, and she wasn't her. So they called in a neurologist. He performed another CAT scan on her. He came in and showed us an injury where the brain shifts inside the skull from the impact and basically severs all the neurons and connectors that help the brain perform functions. So I asked him, I said, what does that mean? And he says, well, in my professional opinion, your daughter may never be herself again.
We asked, what do you mean she's not going to be herself? He's like, well, that means she's not going to wake up from the stage. And you guys may want to consider putting her in a nursing home. I think that's the part where George and I broke down thinking, this is crazy. She just graduated.
It was a few days after that, I was sitting in the room and I pulled a tube of chapstick out of my pocket and I put it on my lips. And she was looking right at me and just puckered up her lips, just like she wanted some chapstick. So I put it on her lips, and that was one of the very first signs we got from her that we knew Margie was still in there. So it was at that point that I think we all started really to believe that she was still there. And it was off that one little gesture she made that we began to rebuild everything that we knew about her and bring her back from what she had suffered.
I had to relearn how to walk. I had to relearn how to sit up, even use my arms to feed myself. I had to learn how to roll over again. I was doing physical therapy like 3 times a day, and it was excruciating. It was painful. I just remember crying.
Even though it hurt and she was in pain, she never gave up.
Giving up was never an option, and knowing that if I wanted to be better than I was before, I had to be better than I was yesterday and keep going and keep working hard and keep pushing myself. And that's how I got to walking again and how I got to running again and how I can now go out on a softball field and play softball. Not like I did before, but I mean, just even to be on that field again after that accident is amazing.
One memory I have of her recovery and rehab was they were going to put her on the parallel bars to have her stand up and walk on her own for the first time. These parallel bars elevate and decline to the height of the person. Well, that day they had told us that the machine broke. The mechanic came and looked at it and he couldn't fix it. And I said, that ain't good enough. I actually made that machine work. It was her day to walk. Darn it, she was going to walk.
We walked. Having such an amazing support system and having my parents never leave my side and my little brother, my little sister being my cheerleaders through everything, I could have just rolled over and gave up and cried about how bad my life was, but because of them, it made me want to get better. It made me want to push harder so I could go home and walk to them. I felt loved.